Everybody ready? Yep. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July meeting of the South Range Board of Education. The first thing I'd like to do is to have us stand and say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The very first thing I'd like to do is to welcome publicly our new superintendent, Mrs. Bethany Carlson. The board has worked long and hard to pick someone that we felt that would lead our district and into the future. And I would tell you that probably one of the top things that stood out to me when we were going through the interviews is that Mrs. Carlson truly does bleed burgundy and gold. So I appreciate that, and I'd ask that each of you welcome her as much as the board has, and we're just happy to have her with us for now and into the future. The first item on the agenda
let's call roll, please.
Oh, sorry there, Jim. Call the roll, please.
Brian Bagwell.
Here.
Taylor Christian.
Here.
Terry Lally.
Here.
Amy White.
Here.
Ralph Wentz.
Here. Next up will be the approval of the minutes held from the June 9th meeting as well as the June 29th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections that anybody would like to make?
There's going to be a correction. We did not provide you with the June 29th meeting. I told Bethany to put it on, not realizing that Amy had not typed it yet because she was on vacation. So we'll bring it back in August.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Wait, sorry, for clarification, then we're only approving the 9th? Okay.
Yeah, we'll take the 29th off there, yep. All right, motion to accept the regular meeting on June the 9th.
So moved.
Amy moves, can I have a second?
Second.
Terry seconds, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and next up will be Mr. Phillips and the treasurer's report.
Okay, typically this is only 3 pages long, usually 2 pages of financial stuff and 1 page of the reconciliation itself. But every June, at the end of the year, we're required to show all of our funds, even if there was no activity. So you have lots of pages with zeros on them. I think there's 11 pages total, rather than just, well, there's actually 12, including the reconciliation, and so you have a lot more than normal. That's the reason why. Our regular general fund balance at the end of June, $3,137,956.64. Going back to the grants, you'll see we had to advance money because we're not allowed to close at the end of the fiscal year with any negative balances. So the grants that we normally have to run in the negative, because you have to disperse any money you get from the state from project cash requests within 5 days. So we advanced general fund money, and advance as a loan come July, definitely the end of August. I'll do another cash advance. That money will come in, and those grants will pay the general fund back. And so I don't have anything to say more than that, other than the grants are all zero balances for the end of the year. So our total all funds balance is $4,806,414.78. And on the reconciliation sheet, Farmers Bank had $3,561,288.96. The home savings account, $1,044,520.67. Star Ohio, $241,327.78. So that totaled $4,847,137.41. We had no cash in transit to the bank. Our outstanding checks, $41,502.63. and as always, the petty cash of $780. And you can see at the bottom, the total balances and total fund balances for both the bank and the school do match up, $4,806,414.78. You were also sent, at the end of your long bunch of stuff I sent you this time, the normal appropriations, revenue, and disbursement reports. And if there are any questions, I can answer those now.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Phillips at this time? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Terry moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And on to new business and district reports and good news. And the first thing on good news tonight is, although he's not with us, we do have a letter of accommodation from Senator Michael Rulli for Mr. Dunham, and I'd like to take a couple of minutes to read that. Honoring Dennis J. Dunham on your retirement. On behalf of the members of the Senate of the 133rd General Assembly of Ohio, we are pleased to extend special recognition to Dennis J. Dunham on the occasion of your retirement as Superintendent of the South Range Local School District. You are to be commended for throughout your career and in the field of education, you have completed an array of challenging duties with genuine distinction, proving yourself to be the tireless champion of scholastic excellence and a top-notch administrator. For 39 years, you have enthusiastically demonstrated your profound commitment to education, revealing a wealth of energy and expertise as a teacher and administrator with Southern Local School District and as a high school principal and superintendent of the South Range Local School District. You have certainly inspired trust and confidence by motivating students and faculty alike to set ambitious goals and high standards for themselves. Without question, you have been one of Ohio's most precious assets. A few can rival the depth and duration of your dedication to education, and in the wake of your departure, be assured that your numerous contributions to the South Range Local School District, including being instrumental in the construction of a new K-12 facility and the South Range Sports Complex, will not be forgotten, and that your fine character, keen intellect, and decisive leadership will be sorely missed. Thus, it is with sincere pride that we applaud you and your years of service and wish you a happy and healthy retirement. That's from the President of the Ohio Senate, as well as Senator Michael A. Rulli, the 33rd Senatorial District. And we'll make sure that Mr. Dunham receives that. With that, I'll turn it over to Bethany and good news from the buildings.
First, I want to thank you guys for the welcome. Over the last few days, I've really had a great pleasure of meeting the majority of the staff members today and even a lot of parents. So I just want to say, if I met any of you out in the stadium or out in the audience right now, thank you for the warm welcome. It has been overwhelming how many people have reached out, even made phone calls since I started over a week ago. So thank you to the South Range community for welcoming me. For building reports, we really, the administrators and I have been in doing a lot of work, but we don't really have much to report from the buildings themselves. I want to thank Mr. Pagnotta. He's up running the screen today, but he has been scouring through various emails and different companies trying to find the best prices for different PPE that we're going to need for the district and holding different little meetings. He and I have sat with different companies, going through different products, seeing what might be best for our district and keeping our students and staff safe. So he has been in here working tirelessly, so I'd like to thank him for that. Also, I would like to mention Transportation and I, we're working closely also in regards to the reentry plan. So I've had some meetings with Transportation as well as Food Service. So even though there's nothing great to announce right at the moment, we have all been working diligently together trying to figure out every time something new is released what exactly that means for our district. I would like to highlight that about 2 weeks ago, Sherry Lewis and I received a phone call from Michelle Moore at State Support Team. She's the director of State Support Team, and John Kuzma, who is at the county, offering us to participate in a professional development grant. Really, we are just going to absorb a lot of wonderful professional development, helping our teachers drill down on the standards. One of the big things amongst all of the reopening and re-entry documentation is for teachers to really just focus on the standards that are the core standards that are most important. There's a lot of standards. We're offered a lot as educators to teach throughout the year, and they're really wanting them to really drill down and hone down on them. It's called Teacher Clarity. Well, we were offered to be a part of this. We did a webinar. We thought it was great. So it will be built into our PD plan to try to help our teachers while they're transitioning through a blended learning of in-class, using more technology even in their class, focusing on the standards that are the core. So I'm excited to announce that we get to be a part of that. So for building reports, that would be it. I don't know if Ms. Lally, if you have anything for legislation? Mr. Christian, do you have anything for student achievement?
I have nothing today.
Okay, obviously in the summertime, we don't have a lot of building reports. Obviously, the students not with us, so we'll move forward and hope that we have a lot of good news into the future here. Next up would be, and I'll kind of lump them together for you to talk about, but elementary, middle, and high school handbooks. Is there anything that you'd like to add about the adoption of those?
What I would like to add, we do this yearly. They did put a few highlighted marks if you look through and notice that as we develop our reentry plan, some of the things will be adjusted, but as a team, we've decided that we're going to leave our handbooks as is, but we will make a parent handbook strictly focusing on our reentry plan, so it'll be easier for parents to go right to that information. So any of the things that are medically needing to be changed, legally need to be changed for the reentry committee, we will actually make a specific handbook for the community, the district, and post that on the website as well as provide it to the parents. So this is the standard handbook that they use every year, which involves the discipline, the academics, and other things, but we will provide another resource additional. We're calling it our reentry handbook that we will provide to parents as well.
Okay. Next up would be board policy and temporary suspension due to the guidance from ODE and or OHSAA, amended rules, regulations, and or bylaws to allow for more flexibility to address the impact of COVID-19.
Okay. We have two policies that really, without having a state testing and with the last 9 weeks being at home learning, our policies are not effectively, it does not let us legally address the need. We had a accelerated math policy that our policy directly states we're using our state test scores to identify who will be in that program. We don't have state test scores because they did not take them. Right. So we are asking that you just suspend that portion of the policy. We're not suspending the policy, but we cannot use state tests. So we are, as a district, we purchased Ames Web, which is a diagnostic test that allows us to find out if the children are accelerated in mathematics. So we will do that within the first 2-3 weeks of school and identify who still needs to be in the accelerated math program. We didn't want to suspend the program. We just don't have a state test. So we need to at least suspend that portion of the policy. The second one, Ohio High School athletics, their recommendation, that all students are eligible for the fall season. So that's why I wanted to clarify the suspension is only for the fall season. And the line that is in our policy for interscholastic athletics is in addition to the eligibility requirement established by the Ohio High School Athletic Association to be eligible for an interscholastic extracurricular activity, a student must have a minimum at least 1.0 grade point average for the grading period prior to the period of which he or she is participating. A lot of school districts either didn't give grades or they did pass-fail as we did, or they modified the percentage of what was considered passing. So Ohio High School recommended that everybody's eligible for fall. Now, the students entering in the fall, they will begin their GPA for that 9 weeks for the winter sports. So this is only suspending for the fall athletics for this policy.
Okay, a very light agenda. Next up will be public participation for agenda items, And then if there's anybody here that has questions beyond what's on the agenda, we will have public participation for non-agenda items after we go back through and adopt these. So first up, if anybody would like to comment or ask any questions on the agenda items, would you please step up to the mic and state your name and address? And I would say try to stay at the 2 minutes here. Anybody in the audience? Okay, if there are no questions, anything from the board at this point in time before we go back and vote? If not, first up will be the adoption of the elementary handbook. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Brian moves. Can I have a second? Second. Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the middle school handbook. Can I have a motion to accept the middle school handbook?
I motion.
Terry makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brian? Brian seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the high school handbook. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Taylor moves. Can I have a second? Second. Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next will be the board policy and temporary suspension due to the guidance of the ODE and OHSAA policy. Can I have a motion on that?
I'll motion.
Terry makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Taylor.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Taylor. Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up will be participation for non-agenda items, and it'll be the same thing as agenda items. If anybody has any questions, step up to the mic and state your name and address, and have 2 minutes. Anybody?
A couple questions. In lieu of the Canfield Fair getting canceled, have you thought about examining whether we're going to still have that fall break in the schedule, since we no longer need that this year? And especially, I think, in light of the educational deficit a lot of these kids are going to experience, having gone through almost the entire spring without really being in school. I think it would be more beneficial to get them in and keep them in if you could. If obviously at this time, I'm sure you have no idea whether you're going to a blended schedule, in school, whatever. If it is a blended schedule, will that also carry over, say, to sporting events? So if you have kids that are just in school on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, are they just going to have sports on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or are they still going to be expected to come to school? And with regard to busing, I was talking to a bus driver from another district that said, I think it was Austintown, and he said he's only going to be able to bus maybe 25 to 30% of the kids that you would normally put on a bus. If that's the case, are you looking at examining suspending high school busing, since that's not a state requirement? And if not, obviously I don't think we would have the bus capacity to be able to do that if you're going to have social distancing requirements like that. So would you consider, I know we do payment in lieu of transportation, would you consider for families that are going to self-transport, offering something like that to the families? Just some ideas.
I think probably at this time, there's a lot more questions than there are answers. I would say that we'll continue to look and discuss lots of different possibilities. I don't think that you should rule out anything. Obviously, lots of changes to come, and so as we move forward and get closer, I'm sure those are some of the things that we'll look at discussing in that. So as far as your question, and I'm going to defer a little bit to Jim, because I don't know the answer, but I think I know the answer. I know that we do payment in lieu of instead of the busing for people that transport their children to parochial schools. I would think that that's not something that we would do in our own district. And
The
stuff.
districts that we haul kids to, where their parents, we would haul kids to where their parents do it instead, those districts have to send us on their letterhead the attendance of the kids. It's done at the end of the year, and it's based on the attendance of the kids. So is there a way that we could work with our legal to offer that if we wanted to? Probably, but the way the law is written, it's actually revised code that says we have to do that for,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
and the mechanisms wouldn't be in place to do that with parents
Yeah, I would.
for resident
I would
districts.
not
So-
think so.
And I think the Canfield Fair part, aren't they still having the student fair? The
Yeah,
junior
the junior fair, as of today, is still gonna go on. They're not working out the details yet, but junior fair with livestock projects, that is gonna be as with many fairs throughout the state of Ohio, that is gonna happen as of today, so. Anybody else that would like to address the board at this time?
One question I have is with parents wanting their kids to come back and parents that don't want their kids to come back and putting the teachers at risk that feel they're at risk as well, I just would like the board to consider having medical, reach out to someone with a medical degree that's a doctor or something. And I spoke with Sherry on the way in, and she said that they've been talking with a doctor. But the community and the parents that are here and parents that are listening on live broadcasting, they're not aware of that. So also with the week off for the fair, parents like to take their kids on vacation that aren't going to the fair. I just want the board to consider that as well, because some people are going to go on vacation, and when they come back, are they going to be quarantined for 14 days? Rather than sending their kids to school. So just something for the board to consider from everybody, because you're going to be damned if you do and damned if you don't. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, at this time, we would have a June, July district update, and Mrs. Carlson.
To answer some of our parents, through the month of June and July, we have been doing various things. We have been very cautious on what we want to send out to all of you because the information that we have been receiving has been evolving. So we didn't want to be a district that quickly put together a plan, provided it to you to then say, oh, nope, that won't work. So we wanted to make sure we were being cautious. In fact, this past week, we kind of took pause. We kind of waited to see exactly what would be presented to us. The governor had just given us a bunch of documents. So we took the week to kind of really sit, read through them. I've had various superintendent meetings that we have all gotten together with the health department. In regards to the medical committee, we will develop a medical advisory team once we decide what our plan is. And we will probably reach out to some parents, maybe some medical experts within our community, as well as some other ones that work along with Ohio Department of Education to help us with our guidelines. So we do have clear, concise, consistent guidelines for our kids and our staff. We are meeting tomorrow as an administrative team to review all the information that we've gathered. The buildings have had 2 different building level meetings. We've had 2 different district level meetings. We've had a reentry planning district level meeting. So we'll be working tomorrow to kind of put everything in place with the guidelines we've been given. I recently just received even more information from a legal team, a set of lawyers that help school education, and they kind of very concisely put it together and will really support us with that. So just to give a little bit of an update without, I'm sorry, still giving you clear answers, I do want you to know that we are taking all the survey information that you provided to us. We had actually 548 families, which equals about 897 students. Did provide us with information, and we appreciate that. So we're kind of going through all of that, as well as the teacher survey. They did one for us as well, and using that information to ensure that we do provide the best information for our families when it's time to give you what we are going to do. So we do not want to give you misinformation and then change plans. So those are our updates, really, what's been going on in June and July.
Okay. Next up will be personnel.
Okay. Most of these are a renewal from last year. They are substitutes. So our first list would be to approve the request of medical leave for Carol Dawson for the 2021 school year. Approve for the 2021 school year the following people as substitute teachers on an as-needed basis, as long as all criteria is met. I do want to remove Jeannie Seifert. She is the first one off the list. I'm going to put her back in on August. She's going to be an hourly employee. We're going to adjust it, so I don't want her on this one because these are a daily rate. So this individuals will be George Markerloo, Chris Condis, Alana Pellini, Jim Fantone, Anthony Europoli. I would also like for the approval as itinerant and or substitute bus drivers, cafeteria aides, custodial aides, teacher aides, nurses, office aides, playground aides, bus and or van drivers, and etc. for the 2021 school year. The following people, after they actually are up to date with their certifications, license, and permits, background checks, FBI, pupil activity permits are on file. Laura Kirko, Kelly Yeagley, Chris Chismar, Lisa Blythe, and Nancy Valentine. Accept the resignation of Brian Krumbacher as freshman football coach for the 2021 school year, effective today, July 13th, 2020. Approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2021 school year. Compensation of said contract is pending official start date and subsequent completion of assignment duties as per the SREA and SRBOE negotiated agreement. Approve David Rock as freshman football coach for the 2021 school year, effective July 13th, 2020. Approve David Bazzacco and Tyler Bradley. They will both receive 8%. They are middle school football coaches. They are sharing the head responsibilities. However, in name only, David Bazzacco will be listed as the head coach. Approve Terry Kenny as a volunteer varsity cross-country coach for the 2021 school year. Approve Brian Krumbacher as a volunteer assistant football coach for the 2021 school year. Approve the following ticket takers, scorekeepers, timekeepers, game video, stat panel operators, and message center operators for the 2021 sports season. The individuals will perform their various duties at a rate of $30 per event. Sarah Fischel, Sam Landry, Kristen Scott, Angela Rosen, Paul Munson, Erica Berkey, Kelly Leach, Dan Paplardo, Drew Farron, Paul Lindstrom, Harold McHugh, Jim Hannick, Gianna Marinucci Rowan, Julian Strakansky, Macy Slaybaugh, Mark Giese, and Paul Screener. Thank you. Approve the following: Nicole Freifogel and Nicole Rothbaugh as co-head speech and debate coaches for the 2021 school year. And approve the following as summer clerical and custodial help for the 2021 school year, effective June 1st, Joe White and Lisa Gorby. Approve Kelly Yeagley as 2020 Summer Board of Education Office Substitute, effective July 1, 2020, at a substitute rate. And that would be it.
Okay. At this time, can I entertain a motion for personnel? Amy moves. Terry seconds. Mr. Phillips, would you call the roll, please?
Taylor Christian,
Yes.
Terry Lally, Ralph Wentz,
Yes.
Amy White, Brian Bagwell.
Yes.
And before we adjourn, a reminder to everybody here and everybody watching that we will be meeting again tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, right?
The library.
In the library, so to talk about some of the other issues that some of you brought up tonight. With that, can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Taylor moves. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
probably doesn't help either.
No,